Hey, ladies and gentlemen, this is Carmine Sabia for Explain America, and Fox News host Greg Gutfeld went off the reservation during a fiery segment on Fox News. Before we get started, please make sure you like, comment, share, and subscribe. Those little things really help us out, and they help our channel continue to grow. So Greg Gutfeld was talking about the situation in Israel with Gaza, and he was talking about, the reaction of certain members of Congress over what has happened over there. And as he was doing that, he just went off because Permilia Jayapal, she basically equated atrocities that were conducted against women with things that the Israel army is doing to defend itself. And Gutfeld was having none of it. Let's take a look.
Greg, there was a lot of discussion about you don't want to conflate the Palestinians with Hamas. Okay, but it would help if the Palestinians and their supporters like her would condemn Hamas.
Yeah, their silence is conflating themselves with Hamas. It's amazing when you consider the Me Too movement in that context. We went from believe all women to believe no women if they're Jewish, right? Mm-hmm. And it's not about like where are the women's groups. It's like who do the women's groups represent? Who do they represent now? We know they don't represent any Republican women or libertarian women or pro-life women or independent women. Among feminists, they don't represent women in sports who don't want to compete against men. They don't represent women who believe in legitimate safe spaces away from men, right? They don't represent, obviously, Jewish women, and they don't represent white women unless they buy a dinner where they confess that they're an oppressor to woke scholars. And I'm trying to think who's left to represent. Is it men who say they're women? Because once you no longer stand up for victims of mass what good are you as a women's group, right? You're worthless. You're pathetic. I think we need to reframe this because we've been too easy on these idiots. We've given them a free ride by describing October 7th as an act of terror because we know the knee-jerk response when you call somebody a terrorist. They always say, one man's terrorist is another man's freedom fighter. And then you start talking about the historical context. Well, there is no historical context for atrocity. That is the word, that's the phrase that needs to be employed from now on October 7th. It was a atrocity because then you don't leave any wiggle room to these misogynist monsters out there. The label is 100% true, and the evidence is there, as opposed to something like Kavanaugh, where one allegation, recent allegation, decades ago, no evidence, and that was an abomination, and yet you have a mountain of dreadful evidence, and they don't do it. So
he's absolutely right. There's no excuse. There's no reason for this to be okayed, for this to be looked over, glossed over, or equated with anything else. It's absolutely abhorrent what has happened to women over there, and it needs to be condemned by everyone. I want to know what you think about this story. Please let me know in the comments. Also, please remember to like, share, and subscribe. It really helps us out. I'm Carmine Sabia. This is Explain America. We love you guys. God bless you. Take care, everybody.